As a closeted non-heterosexual at the University of Richmond, my experiences on this campus are drastically different than those of heterosexuals.
I think it is also important that we don't become too accusatory while discussing these issues of inclusivity and acceptance.
People stay in the closet for many reasons: family or religious, financial, professional, social, and safety. 9 in 10 LBGT teens report having been verbally harassed during the past school year, and almost half have been physically harassed because of their sexual orientation.
Last semester, I was sexually assaulted. To come out would not make things better. It would only further compromise my safety.
Richmond is not free from prejudice against non-straight students.
My God, the God that sent Christ, would not put people on this earth to be subject to this sort of ridicule, hate, and fear.
If you are a homosexual, you were not born this way. I was born with a tendency to be an alcoholic, but it does not mean I should succumb to those desires.
Why is football attendance so low? And why can't I use a tray on Fridays?
Once, residents in my dorm said they would rather have a barn animal as a roommate than a gay one.
Homosexuality harms no one. Individuals' personal relationships are their own business, and they don't have any effect on people outside of those relationships.
Chanting "fucking faggot" when another guy's iPod slips into NSYNC or Tina Turner is not kind.
A straight male can easily saunter up to a girl and dance, but a gay male cannot do the same with another male. 2 females are encouraged to dance together, but 2 male dancers are not. One fraternity forced their pledges to serve drinks that said, "Punish me, I'm gay."
If you prick us, do we not bleed?
Those examples highlight the campus's widespread heterosexism, defined as bias in favor of opposite-sex sexuality and relationships. Heterosexism includes presumptions that heterosexual or opposite-sex attractions and relationships are the norm, bathrooms should be segregated by sex, and rules about inviting guests to socials, among others.
My confidants wonder why I won't come off the closet, but I see no reason to introduce myself as a non-heterosexual. If you don't introduce yourself as straight, why should I introduce myself as homosexual?
Someone just admitted to being a rape victim, and all you care about are trays?
Staying in the closet offers protection from a world where homosexuals are executed in Iran and outlawed from donating blood, and largely barred from marriage.
We walk among you. We are present in every level of society.
Coming out as a process as endless as its audiences. I don't need to be an icon of homosexuality, just as others don't need to be the representatives for their minorities or classifications.
I mean, I don't hate homosexuals, but what more do you want? Do you want me to say that homosexuality is okay?
Promoting education and openness does not rest solely on the shoulders of the LGBTQTOPPATIQTBA, sexual minority community. The heterosexual majority also carries responsibility, and I find it disheartening that the Richmond community does not respond to heterosexism with the same phrases such as "that's gay" as it has been done with other instances of bias. Eliminating those words from your vocabulary not only supports tolerance, but also exhibits intelligence. And tolerance, not necessarily acceptance, is all that I ask of people.
The thing that frustrates me most about campus is the silence.
Tonight we gather to acknowledge the power of communication. We hope to break the silence like these brave individuals. We wanted to capture all of the voices of our community, no matter how queer, rich, white, poor, black, Asian, athletic, Greek, poor, whatever. The following are the stories of the University of Richmond community and told by members of the U of R community. Falling in love is a beautiful thing. It is difficult for me to understand why anyone would want to prevent another from enduring an experience which has been undergone throughout the ages.
I am from one of the merry areas of the world which tend to frown upon an individual for being anything but heterosexual in nature. To me, sexuality is a private matter. I think that someone's sexual preference should be merely a footnote in his or her description. The same is true for the ideas of gender which are so deeply ingrained in the cultures of the world. Our language even separates the supposed two, when in actuality there remains a spectrum of both sexuality and gender identification. For me personally, the idea of discrimination against homosexuals hits close to home for various reasons. The most prominent being my thought that human beings should treat one another with kindness, and my close friendships with individuals who identify themselves as homosexual. As the famous English polymath and openly gay man, Stephen Fry said, quote, that one can love another of the same gender. That is what the homophobe really cannot stand. Love in all 8 tones and all 5 semitones of the world's full octave. Think about what bans on same-sex marriage mean. Do they constitute bans on homosexual acts, as this preference is so aptly named? They are a ban on love, a ban on a ritual of commitment between people who desire to spend the rest of their lives together. I identify myself as a heterosexual female, and I believe in equality for all human beings. I believe in kindness towards others. I believe in the state not meddling in the affairs of the heart. Most importantly, however, I believe in love.
I'm gay, by the way, but what does it matter?
I was 17, and it had only been, 3 years, 7 months, 14 days, 9 hours, and 24, 25, 26 seconds that I had been completely in love with her. She was athletic, but feminine. Silly, but a straight-A student. Popular, and my best friend. Now, whether you're gay, straight, bi, queer, poly, pan, questioning, XYZ, 1, 2, 3, you know that falling in love with your best friend is a recipe for disaster. And I was like your 4-year-old brother cooking blindfolded with both hands tied behind my back. Yes, it was that bad. It was around 4:30 on a Tuesday afternoon. All the students had been picked up and the teachers were long gone. She and I walked out of room 124 from speech and debate practice. Guess what, Sally?
What?
I got my first kiss this weekend. Yes, I got my first kiss at 17. Stop laughing.
That's great.
Yeah, and you know what that means, right?
Okay, Kareen, you're skipping words.
Okay, fine. So rewind back a few years.
Hey, Kareen, if I ever kiss a girl, I want it to be you.
Really? Wait, are you?
Straight as an arrow.
All right, fast forward. I got my first kiss this past weekend.
That's great.
Yeah, and you know what that means, right?
We are the coolest girls in school.
No.
We're no longer lip virgins.
What? No.
Oh, we get to have our first girl kiss.
Oh, I completely forgot about that. Well, I guess that too.
Well, are you ready?
I guess. Okay.
Whoa, what did I just interrupt?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay.
Well, that was awkward.
You want to try again?
Okay. And then she pecked me on the lips. The next thing I know, I'm blushing red as a sunburned tomato.
What's wrong, Kareen?
I don't know, nothing. It's fine.
Wait, are you?
Straight as an arrow?
You're all embarrassed. Sheesh. What are you? Bisexual?
No, not at all. I like boys. A lot. Not girls. No, not at all. Never. Actually, maybe.
Okay, that's cool.
What do you mean?
I mean, you're Korean. Whether you like boys or boys and girls, you're still Korean. You're still my best friend.
I was 17, and it had only been 3 years, 7 months, 14 days, 9 hours, and 24, 25, 26 seconds that I had been ignoring my feelings for her. I was 17, and it had only been 17 years, 7 months, 14 days, 9 hours, and 24, 25, 26 seconds that I had been denying my sexuality. I was 17, and it had only been 1 minute, 42, 43, 44 seconds that I had come to peace with who I truly was.
This past weekend, I had an amazing experience. I actually held the hand of a guy in short bum. Who would have thought? I mean, just 10 years ago, the mall cop probably would have arrested us on the spot. Now they focus on actual crimes like people stealing earrings from Hot Topic. As I looked into my date's eyes that day, I just smiled, thinking how far we'd come. Yet, I know we can go farther. For now, I have him, and he has me, and we are happy and in love.
Sexual minorities experience what I call minor indignities almost every day. They think sexual minorities are not going to raise a conflict, and if we ignore it long enough, they'll shut up and go away. We are here, and we are queer. Hi.
I found myself checking my makeup before she came over to watch Scrubs with me.
Ring Dance, a poem. Maybe we could benefit if I added my voice to the conversation about these changes, about tradition. But how can I share my words when that voice falls dead before it passes my lips? I've heard too many times, whether intended or not, that transgender people are too few. We can't just go about changing things for such a small minority. I feel, why bother speaking when I feel so small? This is a tradition for women. It's not for me, not for some genderqueer in between. They don't make traditions for me here. I have to make my own way every time. How do I summon the courage to face the vulnerability that comes with saying, hey, I may feel like the only one, but my pain hurts too. It does matter. I left the country my junior spring partly because I didn't even want people to ask me if I was going to ring dance. I didn't even want to be around for people to keep reminding me that being put in West Hampton College is supposed to mean that I'm a woman, a daisy, a lady. Instead, last spring, I pretended the dance wasn't happening. Instead, I had Indian shopkeepers, children, strangers asking me every day, are you a boy or a girl? I didn't mind so much this chance to be visible, to speak my truth, as I hardly ever get to in the States. I'll be honest, I stopped reading most emails from West Hampton College. I didn't go to proclamation night. I have no reason to put myself in those situations where someone speaking to a crowd of women and me calls us ladies, calls us West Hampton women. And I feel tiny, I feel invisible, forgotten, ignored. It's not because I'm against being a woman. You see, it's just I'm not one. I want to tell you more, like what it feels like rushing to find a gender-neutral bathroom without being late to class. Like the way my mood sinks when another friend calls me she, another stranger says ma'am. How the words choke up in my throat to correct them again. Please use they instead. Please correct each other and yourself. I'm so tired of always trying to be less invisible. For some people, it's exhausting to just live as yourself day after day in a world that feels like someone else's. I want to tell you more of how it feels, but there's this voice in my head that says, hush. Hush, child, they don't care. It says, hush now, your pain is your own. You're 1 in 1,000. Why should they care? I know this is a voice that hides in the back of the minds of many of the other people that face oppression, that face discrimination that's hard to pin down, to point to tell others about. I know that I don't know exactly what it's like for these people that also hear this voice, but that we have some things in common and can embody the power to resist and can stand with one another. But knowing these things for some reason still doesn't quiet that voice that finds me at my most downtrodden and whispers, hush. I still don't know what benefit my own voice, my stories might have, but here it is anyway.
As an alumnus of Richmond College and a current trustee of this great university, I celebrate this occasion to say to the entire university community that I am openly, proudly, happily gay.
June 12th. Everyone knows you have a girlfriend. June 13th. I think you are an annoying know-it-all bitch. June 14th. You are lesbian with Jen, and you are an annoying slut. I know you are not just a lesbian, you are an ugly lesbian. Ew, I saw you dancing at a school dance and you were all up on some girl. I wanted to throw up. Fucking dyke. June 15th. You are a fucking loser. A huge, no friend, fat fucking loser. You are ugly and not popular. No one likes you. Plus you're fucking bisexual. Ha 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 ha. Fuck you. Fuck you. You ugly dyke. I think it's funny how you think you're awesome, but you aren't. You're not as cool as you think you are. Dyke, fat ass, June 16th. The word dyke, written 207 times, spelled incorrectly. Annoying bitch. June 18th. You are ugly and fat. Lose some weight. June 23rd. Wow, you think you're so cool. Your boyfriend is one ugly motherfucker. Sort of like you. June 24th. You are one fat ass motherfucker. Plus, you're ugly. Plus, no one likes you. Plus, you're a know-it-all. June 25th. Fuck you. You ugly wannabe slut. August 16th. Ha 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 ha. You're a dyke. December 21st. You're a bisexual porker. December 27th. Bisex. These are a selection of the anonymous emails I received thanks to the Facebook application Honesty Box. It enables angry teenagers everywhere to tell their supposed friends what they really think of them. They can never be tracked down, and the receiver can never defend herself. Today, years after these messages have stopped, I will defend myself. The first message was sent June 12th. I was 15 years old, freshman in high school. Although I had been out all year to my close friends, I had asked out my first girlfriend only 2 weeks before this message was sent. The only person I told was my best friend, Jen. The one that was mentioned in one of the emails. And just for the record, Jen and I were never together. she was straight, I was bisexual. That doesn't really work out. I made Jen promise she wouldn't tell anyone about my relationship. My new girlfriend, a rising senior, was still in the closet as a lesbian, and we didn't want the attention. Jen swore it was our secret. 1 week later, she told her classmates. A week after that, June 12th, came that first hate mail. Well, yeah, threatening. Everyone knows you have a girlfriend. Even though school had let out for the summer, rumors spread like Catholic school wildfire. I was the outcast who was stuck in the spotlight. Every high school girl is used to the occasional whispers and stares. But the outpouring of hatred I received is nothing like I had ever known before. And although the directness and frequency of those comments faded over the next 3 years, I still feel the sting. I'm still paranoid about the people that happen to glance at me in the dining hall, or when girls stop talking when I enter a room. And I had never had another girlfriend. I have learned I am more willing to stay with a man-child who's clingy, or doesn't give a shit about me, or likes to shake me around when he's angry, than I am to hold hands with a girl and kiss her in public. Those immature high schoolers robbed me of my sense of security, my identity, and my pride in who I am. But this is me taking it back. Accusation by accusation. Yes, I did have a girlfriend. And she was a beautiful young woman. She's now getting top grades at an Ivy League, so thanks for noticing. I find it interesting that being an intelligent woman with an opinion makes me a know-it-all, especially when my shyness prevented me from ever making any sort of confrontation. Again, I'm not a lesbian, nor am I a dyke. I am a bisexual. And if you'd like to insult me, please do so correctly and spell it right. A D-I-K-E is a trench in which water is trapped between tectonic plates. Look it up. I've been called fat and ugly before, but never as much as I was after people found out that I was bisexual. I'm going to take that to mean they felt threatened that my 125-pound size 4 self could steal both their boyfriends and their girlfriends. But rest assured, stupid people are not my type. And finally, to the very confused individuals that called me a slut, you need to join the people who spelled dyke wrong and grab a dictionary. At age 15, I had never had sex with a boy. Hell, I'm definitely not 15 anymore, and I still haven't had sex with a boy. And as for my girlfriend activity, she and I waited several weeks before we even kissed. I asked her permission first. I'm old school. So to all the rest of you out there who have ever said something to belittle a person, gay or straight, think before you speak. You never know how long they'll remember it.
Let's be honest. Penises are terrifying.
It was October of my freshman year of high school when I met the 3 girls who would become my best friends. I was 14 and shy. They were juniors and seniors.
brilliant and outgoing. I don't remember now how it happened, but several months later, we were inseparable. These 3 girls were responsible for breaking me out of my shell to become the person I am today. They shocked the hell out of my crude little mind with their language and crude humor. They taught me how to be confident in who I was and what I stood for. And they made sure I'd go off to college knowing how to take a shot, or 3, or 5. They played the role of both my bad influence and my supportive role models. The only thing I ever really felt alone about was my sexual orientation. Although they treated my coming out as if I was announcing my hair color, an obvious and so what declaration, it still wasn't the same as having other people who knew what it felt like to be different. 2 years later, my 3 best friends were all in college, and we slowly drifted apart. There was the occasional text message and visit, but we all knew it wasn't meant to last. We were content to go our separate ways and discover who we were, what we enjoyed. While they were out conquering the world, I was still in high school, learning how to be me without them. Even though they were no longer with me every day to guide my every step, I still wanted to emulate them. They were always so open to the world and so secure in their own skin, and I tried to find the same self-confidence in my own. As it turns out, they weren't as comfortable with themselves as I had believed. Over the next 2 years, they actually took a page out of my book, as one by one, all 3 of my former best friends came out of the closet. A part of me had always known, but still today, I marvel at how the universe works. 3 individually in the closet lesbians had taken a still in the closet bisexual under their wings to nurture and love. I had felt alone all the time, when all the while I was actually surrounded by the queer community that I longed for. To me, this is just one small example of how life is funny sometimes. Everything that is meant to be will fall into place, whether you realize it or not when it happens. Had these girls not found me and given me their unconditional support, I might still be in the closet today, afraid of being different. Without my example of how to fight the battle of being out, maybe they would still be in hiding too. They say you can never really know someone, and it's true. But more importantly, you may never really know just how much of a difference you make to someone else.
I was 15 and drunk on cheap vodka and Coke the first time I experienced another girl's vagina. A group of friends and I had been partying for the past few hours on our last night abroad, and inhibitions were low. We were celebrating our freedom, our youth, and our stupidity. And after mixed drinks led to body shots, and body shots led to spin the bottle, all of us were ready for bed. The 3 of us weren't quite ready for sleeping. I've been having more than a flirtation with a 17-year-old boy in the room for the past few weeks, and even with my buzz, I felt a little bad for him. We were mutually each other's first sexual experiences, but I could tell for him, he was getting emotional. For me, it was just quickie hand jobs in the bathroom. I had let him know from the start that all I wanted was a detached, educational sexual experience. But like a wounded puppy, he still followed me around, insisting that we hold hands in public, and using romantic lines on me when we were alone. It was cute, really. We were both virgins, and yet he was so much more innocent. If I hadn't had that girl back home who I was on hiatus with, maybe I would have given it more thought. But at the moment, I was drunk in a Swiss hotel room, the lights were off, and I found myself scrambling into bed with that guy and another girl in the room. I was interested immediately in getting to know the third party to our trio, an 18-year-old girl who was a loudmouth liberal, but nice enough. Right now, the only thing that I wanted coming out of her mouth was my praises. Leaving my male flame to tend to her upper half, I went for the dive. Ever notice that when you're used to driving a compact car, you really have no trouble navigating your friend's Prius? Well, it's the same way with people's junk. The same genders are just meant to go together for sexual satisfaction. Girls know how to work with vaginas, guys handle penises with ease. Why screw with nature? When it was mission accomplished between her legs, and she certainly let me know when, I turned my attention back to my fling. I felt that her hand was down his pants, and my possessive instincts kicked in. I had practiced with this guy. It was time for me to take over. I ripped off his pants and switched from automatic transmission to stick shift. When it was over and I came up for air, everyone was breathless and rather giggly. I'd had my way with 2 older partners and had succeeded, and I felt pretty damn good. The girl rolled over and went to sleep, while my fling and I left to spend the rest of the night in my hotel room. He pulled me under the covers of the bed and clung to me in the way that I kind of imagined a lover would hold on to his sweetheart when they had shared a special moment together. I indulged him in his fantasies as the first rays of sunlight crept into the bedroom, letting him live in his dream world while I lived in mine. I had no idea at that moment what would transpire over the next few years. The 3 of us involved would never mention the incident again. Within the next year, the girl that I had sex with would become knocked up and get married, 2 separate occasions by 2 separate guys. It would become a Bible-thumping, gay-hating, homophobia advocate in the name of her new heterosexual savior, Jesus Christ. I would eventually decide not to go back to my girl back home, and my fling would convince me to become his girl instead. That young man would become both my first passionate love and also the reason that, to this day, I am still afraid of intimacy and of men. But in the early morning light in some hotel room in Europe, as my half-naked body was cradled by a boy, I lay there and thought only about how I had just rocked one girl's world.
Will was one of my best friends in high school and a flaming homosexual. Maybe that's why I was attracted to him. After all, every girl needs a gay guy friend to keep her in line. Here are the top 10 stereotypical, yet completely one-of-a-kind life lessons Will taught me. Number 10, there is no excuse to be unfashionable. It does not matter where you are going or what you are going to be doing. You should present the world with a polished, put-together version of you wherever you go. Sweatpants are neither fashionable nor professional. Silk net scarves are both. Number 9, bitching and complaining will get you nowhere. However, if you admit that you're just whining, it's completely therapeutic. Number 8, don't mess with the riffraff. It is not snooty to recognize that people are below you and to not associate with them. Those who are dishonest, insincere, malicious, and otherwise poisonous to your intelligence, integrity, and self-esteem fit into this category. Number 7, we're not gossiping. We're quietly offering constructive criticism. Number 6, on the same note, never be offended if a person says something negative about you or thinks there's something you should change. Take it with a grain of salt and an open mind. This mean comment could actually help to point you towards an improved version of yourself. Number 5, the closer you are to someone, the more offensive and truthful their term of endearment should be. Going back to lesson number 6, if your nickname has changed from slut to whore recently, you may need to reconsider your side job. Number 4, always remember to stay classy. If you wouldn't want your future employer to see it, it's probably not classy. If you're still going to do it, just don't take any goddamn pictures and put them on Facebook. Number 3, if it's more than hand-holding or a quick smooch, your PDA is not welcome. No one wants to see it, no one thinks it's cute, and frankly, most of us are just bitter. However, public groping between a gay man and a woman is perfectly acceptable. Number 2, loving yourself, quote unquote, just the way you are,
is for wimps. If there is something that you don't like about yourself, fix it. By settling for less than your best at anything, you'll never be as happy, and you make others around you uncomfortable. This goes for all areas of life. You'll be glad you put in the effort. And finally, life lesson number 1. You need to be yourself no matter what. There is no reason to hide the fabulous person you are just so that some narrow-minded person has one less thing to talk about it. Let them talk. Truth is, you're fierce and you're sexy, and they probably want you.
He and I had been close friends for 3 years. We sat there in class, whispering girl talk, back and forth as our economics teacher droned on about marginal cost on a PowerPoint slide. Hi, Mr. Curtis! If people heard us, they would have rolled their eyes over our petty discussion. But they couldn't understand. When a gay boy meets a bisexual girl, suddenly no topics are off limits. Nothing is too offensive or too taboo. We were discussing girls, a topic of mild interest for both of us, when suddenly he said, I refuse to talk to ugly people. I don't want to associate myself with them. He wasn't being mean, just his usual, shocking, unfiltered self. I pretended to be horrified by his cruelty and we continued the conversation. Well, reflecting on it, it was the nicest compliment I've ever received.
So, I've finally been able to accept myself for who I am. I'm gay. Now, I'm just trying to figure out how to move forward. I had planned to tell my close friends this summer before I left for college. I chickened out. I planned to do it again over fall break, but I chickened out again. Why is it so hard for me to let the people I care about know who I really am? I think it's a combination of things. Every once in a while, I'll be out with my friends, and one of them will describe the person we walk or joke by as a faggot or a flamer. Hearing this makes me think they won't be able to feel comfortable around me if they knew the truth. Another issue is that I don't want to be known as that gay guy, because there's a lot more to me than just my sexuality. We all know the stereotypes associated with gay men, but I'm just your average guy who happens to like other guys. I met a few guys here who are out and seem to be pretty happy and comfortable with who they are. I just hope that the people around me can be comfortable with who I really am. Sincerely, a guy who's stuck in the closet, but about to open the door.
During the 2009 preparations for the National Day of Silence, posters were distributed around campus. A poster went up on an employee bulletin board. The Day of Silence message was silenced when the poster disappeared and a Bible tract was posted in its place.
In the first months of my freshman year, a straight girl broke my heart, in secret, and I could tell no one. We'll call her Amber. She lived on my hall, and I remember distinctly our first meeting. On the way to some orientation event, I told her how much I liked her nerdy t-shirt. I was looking for a friend, but what I found was a silent disaster. She had a nice body, beautiful hair, and big round tits. But what really got me were her eyes. Elfish eyes, almond-shaped eyes. Eyes that look right through you and they just won't look away. We sat together at one of the orientation events, and I was thinking about how happy I was to have found a new nerdy friend. Just before the event started, I got a text that stopped me cold. Hey, I read. I'm Amber's best friend, and she wants to know. Are you gay too? Am I gay too? Am I gay too, also? also gay. She's gay and she's wondering about me. What do I do? I hadn't come out to anyone on campus yet, not my roommates, not anybody. I had never actually come out to anyone in my household, nor my parents. Actually, I had only ever come out to 3 people. My brother, the guy I dated for most of high school, and another close male friend of mine. All straight men, nice and safe. See, girls are scary. You don't even know it. The internal struggle that plagued me then seems ridiculous now. Is this how I'm going to start coming out to people? Indirectly, through text message? Impersonal and without a second thought? Yes. Whatever. Why does it matter? Grow some ovaries. This is college. You're not going to let this opportunity pass. No more hiding. So I responded telling Amber's friend that I was indeed queer, pansexual to be exact. In case you don't have a clue what pansexual means, a pansexual is someone for whom gender is not a significant role in one's attraction to a given person, whether the person is genderqueer, gender fluid, female to male transgender, transsexual, male to female transgender, transsexual, intersex, female, male, or any other gender or sex. Doesn't really matter in terms of whether I'm attracted to the person or not, especially compared to other more important characteristics such as personality, sense of humor, personal style, common hobbies, or what have you. Someone's gender is not a deal breaker. So anyway, now she knew. Finally, someone knew. I told a girl and she didn't reject me and everything was okay. I told someone else. Oh my gosh, yay! Amber and I started hanging out a lot more. She hung out in my room while we studied for classes, and by studied I mean that she would lay on my bed while I was on my desk, and she'd ask me questions about myself, about my past, about my preferences and fantasies, and I tried my best to assist her because really I had to get my work done. Somehow. She flirted, she seduced, and she acted like she wanted me. Like she wanted all of me, not just my body. I felt seen by those elfish eyes, her ever-probing eyes. Her questions never seemed to have an end. She only asked me through texting or instant messenger unless my roommate wasn't in the room. I still hadn't come out to anyone else. And now I couldn't. Amber didn't want any rumors going around about us since one of her parents worked at the university, and she almost got thrown out of the house when they found out that her best friend, the same one who texted me, was actually her girlfriend at the time. They broke up so that she wouldn't get thrown out of her house and not be able to go to college. And as Amber said, because anyway, I'm straight, so it doesn't make sense to have to go through all that. Wait, you're what? You're straight? You who dated a girl for 1.5 years in high school and claimed to still love her. I was baffled. But I didn't challenge her. Let her identify the way she wants. She's clearly still interested. As for me, I was completely infatuated. I was addicted to the way she cared about what I had to say, the way she wanted to know more about me, and the way she would look at me with those elfish eyes, like she really saw me. And then one day, she just stopped. One day she declared to me that she was straight and actually not interested in any kind of relationship with me. And now the truth came out. I was merely a test for her sexuality. She said that if she had been interested in me, that would prove that she wasn't straight. Which would mean she would go back to dating her high school girlfriend, and they say, fuck the consequences because they were in love. Wait, what? If you were attracted to me, you would go back to your ex? If you weren't, then you would just move on to boys, finally convinced that you were totally straight and could go on and live a much easier heteronormative life. When did I sign up for the scientific study? Do I have a sign on my forehead that says, free Kinsey scale tests, inquire within? Do I look like a lab rat, like a doormat, like a stray cat that you just laugh at? Now I'm just some stupid gnat, just a pile of scat. Something no longer worth winking at. Do you know the pain I felt knowing that all I ever was to do was an experiment? Do you know how hard it is to trust again after handing over all of my secrets to your caring eyes only to learn that they were fake for every minute of it? Do you know what it's like to be led on and then rejected by the first girl that I have ever had the courage to confess attraction towards? Do you know how much I suffer in silence because I cannot tell a soul about this pain? Because I don't want to betray you. I don't want to hurt you, even though you actually hurt me. I don't want you to be gossiped about, to be yelled at by your parents, to be questioned, challenged, and injured. Because I keep my promises, even if you're nothing but a liar. Even if you only used me. I'm not a betrayer. I'm better than that. By basically forcing me to come out to you and entrapping me with your charms and using me and then discarding me, you shoved me deeper into the closet, closed the door, and put a deadbolt on it. But I won't hate you for it. Hate will only bring me further from becoming the carried person I want to be. Hate will only give you continued control over me, control you do not deserve. Hate will only perpetuate the cycles and continue to spread the hurt, because hate is never the solution. And I refuse to be controlled by this emotion. Please, take with you this message. If you want to be healthy, if you want to be happy, if you want to bring about change, then you must take control of your emotions and use them as you will. But never, never let them control you. And please, don't force yourself or others to stay in the closet. It's a really dark place to hide.
It took a lot for me to hold my head high, but it didn't take much for my best friend to take his hand and hold mine in the hall the day I was called a fag in the hallway, or the time he promised if I never found someone, we'd die alone together. The countless times he gave me bear hugs in the hallway. I can't count how many times this kid was there, how many times his hugs were the one cure in the world. The times he would go out of his way to say hello, the time he said she can wait for a sappy phone call, and he talked me off the brink of insanity. Perhaps what truly means the most is when I finally found a boyfriend and he threatened to kick his ass if I wound up heartbroken. I don't think he meant it, but he's ripped. He's the combination of damn he looks good and better not piss him off when his shirt's off. I think he got the point across. However, I think I'm going to use the time to say that my best friend wasn't just my ally, and he never really will be. He's my bromosexual life partner. He's the heterosexual soulmate to my homosexual life. He's the muscle car to my Mini Cooper, the Sunday night football to my tonight's new episode of Project Runway. And of course, beyond a doubt, he's the green shirt with red pants to my This Fall's line from Ralph Lauren. He's all of that, rolled into one 6 foot, 150 pound, pale bundle of awesome. And I love him for it.
I don't consider myself gay. I don't consider myself a lesbian or bisexual either. I prefer to call myself my name. I don't wish I were a guy. I also don't dislike them. I don't have many gay friends. My closest friends are all actually straight. I don't attempt to dress like a man. I just wear what I feel comfortable in. Sometimes this involves heels and a purse. And that by no means implies I'm confused. I'm sure that some days I enjoy wearing loose jeans, and I'm sure that other days I enjoy wearing a dress. Indecisiveness is not the force behind my flux wardrobe. I was in love with a guy before. 2, actually. And no, it was not prior to my falling in love with a woman. My experience with men did not drive me towards women. They have actually treated me better than the women in my life have. Life is not about sex. So swaying me to prefer one sex over the other should not include sexual organs in your argument. I think 2 girls kissing looks socially awkward. I also think 2 men kissing is socially awkward. Actually, anyone kissing makes me uncomfortable. PDA of any kind is not something I care for. I have never forced myself on another girl, gay, straight, or bisexual, nor do I think it's flattering or appealing to promote such behavior. As loud as I am in my daily interactions, I'm really shy when it comes to my intimate relationships. My father is a doctor, and my mother is an accountant. I was not poor growing up, and my sexuality is in no way, shape, or form a disadvantage, or is no way the result of a disadvantaged economic status. I never felt socially unaccepted or feared the opinions of my friends, strangers, or family. I earned 13 varsity letters in high school, broke 2 school records in 2 different sports, and received endless state sectional and conference athletic honors. And these things had absolutely nothing to do with why I dated women. I speak to my straight best friends about my personal life, and it has never once been weird. Most of them depend on me for advice about similar topics. The truth of the matter is, I rarely ever felt negative effects of societal views